Hello, Liverpool fans. Welcome to the Liverpool Report, your go-to source for the latest news, match updates, and transfer stories straight from Anfield. Don't miss out on any of the action. Hit that subscribe button now and stay in the loop with all things Reds. Liverpool extended their Premier League advantage to 13 points in midweek, leaving Arsenal's title challenge hanging by a thread. Arneslot's Reds beat Newcastle on Wednesday night, while Arsenal were held to a goalless draw at Nottingham Forest. By the time the two teams meet at Anfield in May, it could all be over. Liverpool have played one game more, thanks to their involvement in March's Carabao Cup final. By the end of that month, though, both will be on level footing. If the gap between the sides grows in the coming weeks, Liverpool could be champions by the end of the 5-game run. Here's what is on the horizon for Liverpool and Arsenal, either side of the international break. Liverpool's cup final means they play just once before the international break. That game is against bottom of the league Southampton, though things get a bit more challenging from April onwards. The second Merseyside derby of the season against Everton H will be the first with Arneslot back in the dugout after he serves the second match of his touchline ban. Two London-based opponents follow, with Fulham A and West Ham H taking the Reds through to the middle of April. Their fifth game in the upcoming run sees Liverpool up against Leicester. Slot's team came from behind to beat the Foxes on Boxing Day, and Leicester may well be fighting for their lives by the time they welcome the league leaders to the King Power Stadium. After going 2 straight league games without scoring for the first time since May 2023, Arsenal will want to turn things around when they face Manchester United A on March 9th. They're also in action 7 days later, with Chelsea H, their opponents on Carabao Cup final weekend. April begins with another London derby, this time against Fulham. 4 days later, Mikel Arteta will take his team north for a meeting with Everton. After that comes a third home derby in the space of a month, with Brentford H visiting the Emirates Stadium. By then, they might have welcomed the likes of Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli back from injury. Despite Liverpool extending their lead, manager Arne Slot wasn't getting carried away in the immediate aftermath of the midweek win. It is still a long way to go, 10 game, the former Feyenoord boss told TNT Sports. In March, we only play one Premier League game. Then we have the cup final, of course, and an international break, and then 2 big games against Paris Saint-Germain, so we are not focused on the long term. I know, and the players know how difficult the Champions League game is going to be. They are in the same form as us, hardly lose. It is going to be a difficult task for both teams. Now the players have some days off, and then we focus on PSG more than we do on the table in the Premier League. Arteta was bitterly disappointed not to win at Nottingham Forest on Wednesday night and acknowledges the difficulties his side face, but insists he won't be giving up. "It's about what we can do," said the Gunners boss. "It was like this a week before, 2 weeks before, 3 months ago. It's the same. That's the only thing we can control. We're going to have a real chance to do anything. Today we dropped 2 points, which is very painful again, and we have to step up." Dominic Szoboszlai and Alexis Mac Allister were taking nothing for granted despite firing Liverpool 13 points clear at the Premier League summit. The Reds midfielders grabbed a goal in either half to sink Newcastle, who were forced to play without their star striker Alexander Isak due to a groin injury. Liverpool's pivotal 2-0 win came on the same night that Arsenal dropped more points in the title race against Nottingham Forest. The Londoners do still have a game in hand on Arne Slot's men, but the advantage already looks insurmountable. Nobody in the Liverpool dressing room will be popping open the champagne early, though. Going by Szoboszlai's comments when the Hungarian was asked when he and his teammates would start to think the title was definitely done, Szoboszlai told TNT Sports, "Well, when mathematically they have no chance to get us. We are really happy to be 13 points clear, but we will focus on ourselves. Now we have the Champions League coming up, so we will have to focus on this as well. Game by game, we are looking forward to stay at the top. Winning a 20th domestic title would be the perfect way to cap a superb maiden season at the helm for Slot, who has handled the unenviable task of replacing Jurgen Klopp flawlessly. The Dutchman has also guided the Reds into the round of 16 in the Champions League and to next month's Carabao Cup final, where they will lock horns with a Newcastle side who will be out for revenge and with Isak back in tow. But again, Szoboszlai was keeping his feet firmly on the ground when the idea that Liverpool could end the season with 3 trophies was floated to him. He replied, "When I came to Liverpool, I wanted to win everything in my first season, so I don't want to talk about it. We have to focus, game by game. First, we have a Champions League game that we have to go through, and we have a Premier League game in between, and then we have a cup final against these Newcastle, a really tough team, a really good team, and a really good playing style. We have to focus first on the Champions League and then the cup final." Liverpool goalkeeper Kawimin Kelleher has been warned against leaving the club by a former player who still harbours dreams of returning to Anfield. Kelleher joined Liverpool's academy in 2015. While he has predominantly featured as a backup to Alisson Becker in his time on Merseyside, the Irish international has enjoyed long stretches in the first team due to several injuries to the Brazilian. While Kelleher has expressed his desire to leave Liverpool in search of regular first-team football, he should perhaps be mindful of former Reds defender Sepp van den Berg's recent comments. Van den Berg left the club last summer to join Brentford, but has hinted at a tinge of regret since. Despite becoming a mainstay for the Bees, the centre-back has admitted he would jump at the chance to rejoin his former club. The 23-year-old believes he could have taken advantage of injuries in Liverpool's defence this year and earned himself a place in Arneslot's first utleisas. "I would be lying if I said that I did not dream of returning to Liverpool one day," Van den Berg said to Voetbal Primeur. "That is still on my mind. I would be lying if I said that I didn't look at that, Liverpool's defensive injuries myself. That's football, you don't know. And who knows, if I do well here for 2 or 3 years, I will return to Liverpool and be a starter there too." Kelleher has featured in 14 games this season, but was sent back to the bench when Alisson returned from injury. While Van den Berg's comments may give the 26-year-old food for thought, Slot's decision to bring in Valencia keeper Georgi Mamadashvili last year, with the Georgian joining up with his new teammates this summer, complicates matters further for Kelleher. According to The Times, Kelleher is now looking to leave Liverpool at the end of this season, with his current deal taking him to 2026. Several Premier League clubs were reportedly interested in signing the Irish star at the start of this season, yet the player himself admitted any move was out of his hands. "I've made it clear in the last few years that I want to go and be a number one and play week in, week out," said Kelleher in September 2024. The clubs made that decision to get another goalkeeper, and from the outside looking in, it looks like they've made a decision to go in a different direction. Sometimes from the outside looking in, it looks like that's 100% my decision to leave, but at times it's not always in my hands. It's been reported that Liverpool have rejected a few bids as well. My ambition is clear that I think I'm good enough, and I want to go out and prove it. Kelleher edged ahead of former backup keeper Adrian under former boss Jurgen Klopp and signed a new long-term deal with Liverpool in June 2021. He has made 64 first-team appearances for the Reds across 6 seasons, with 43 of those coming over the last 2 seasons. The Irish shot-stopper has played in 2 League Cup finals under former Klopp. His performances helped the Reds win both, and he even scored the winning penalty in a shootout against Chelsea in 2022's final. As well as his League Cup triumphs, he has won the FA Cup and was part of the squad that won the Champions League in 2019 and Premier League in 2020. Mohamed Salah has dropped his biggest hint yet that he will quit Liverpool when his contract runs out at the end of the season. Salah, 32, is in the form of his life as Arneslot's team are chasing down a Premier League, Champions League and Carabao Cup treble and is being touted as a Ballon d'Or winner. But the Egyptian winger is free to talk to foreign clubs with just 3 months left on his contract, and he has outlined how he wants to be remembered by the Anfield supporters when he leaves. Asked if there had been any developments regarding a new deal, the Egyptian shook his head, smiled and said, in a very polite way, he added, "I want fans to remember that I gave it all to the fans. I gave it all to the city. I was here. I wasn't lazy. I just enjoyed my football and gave it all. I think that's what the city is about. They give you love, and you have a connection with them because you give your all." I just want them to remember that I was here for 8 years, and I gave it all. To be here for 8 years is not something I take for granted. Playing at a top club like Liverpool, fighting for every trophy every year, is incredible. I feel like I'm in very good shape, and trying to make sure that not only I improve, but that the players around me are improving as well. Salah has scored 30 goals and provided 21 assists in all competitions this season. His consistency since arriving from Liverpool from Roma in a £36.5 million deal in the summer of 2017 has seen him help the club win the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, and 2 EFL Cups, as well as double FWA Footballer of the Year and PFA Player of the Year awards. Liverpool have been unable to offer him a deal that he feels ready to sign, with captain Virgil van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold also out of contract in the summer. He would be a huge loss to the Merseysiders, with his influence off the pitch just as vital to his contribution off it. In an interview with former Reds midfielder Stephen McManaman for TNT Sport, Salah outlined how he has become something of a father figure to the younger players in Slot's squad. Salah said, "You are not going to win the league alone, so you want other players around you to perform. That's what I've been doing for the last few months, studying the games to understand what the other players like. In the past, when I was younger, I would just focus on myself on the pitch. I try to understand how the players feel, so they can express their feelings and just be honest with me. It's part of being a footballer. You grow up and give your experience to younger players. I speak to them in the coffee bar and also in the gym. If someone is annoyed, they know I'm not going to snitch to the manager so they can express their feelings about the manager or themselves. I'm there to do the dirty jobs for the manager.